Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on your time zone. Welcome to this edition of Purpose Amplified. I'm your host, Anh Nguyen. I'm the owner and chief brand amplifier of Amplified Marketing. Purpose Amplified is a little bit of a passion project for me, and I launched it a couple of years ago because I firmly believe that every single one of us has a purpose that we are called to. Figuring out what that purpose is may be a lengthy journey, but I wanted to be able to feature individuals and organizations doing amazing work, following their purpose and truly making an impact on their local and global communities. And I'm very excited for today's guest because for a long time, many of my guests have been nonprofit organizations who do wonderful work. But I wanted to be able to feature an individual who followed his calling, his purpose, or hers, and made it into part of his life's work. And that's our guest today, Dr. Jeff Frey. A little bit about Dr. Frey. He's the CEO of Vital Competence. He's a leading expert in combining artificial intelligence, AI, right? Everybody's talking about AI right now, and emotional intelligence, EI, for human-centric leadership. With a PhD in EI, an MBA, and a master's in computer science, he helps leaders and organizations integrate AI while strengthening essential interpersonal skills. He currently serves as a professor of entrepreneurship at the University of Houston and teaches at Rice Business and the Citadel. Through his recently launched book, Further, Faster, and Global Speaking Engagements, including TEDx Talks, Dr. Frey shares strategies for sustainable leadership and AI integration. And I am excited to have this conversation because we're going to talk about how these tools can help us to face and overcome burnout as professionals and as business leaders. And without further ado, here's Dr. Frey. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I was fortunate enough to have seen you speak at PR Day last fall. And I sat there and I was like, wow, this is really just mind-blowing and amazing. And the way you framed it was really engaging, one, because oftentimes, no offense, we think PhDs and are like, okay, this could be kind of a boring topic. You were very engaging, and what an interesting way to frame EI and AI. And so let's get started. AI, everybody knows, like the buzzword, we're all using it.
Yeah.
And what exactly is emotional intelligence?
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for having me and the introduction there with the purpose. I feel very connected to your purpose and what's going on here. So I appreciate you having me on here. Artificial intelligence, we know buzzwords, what it's happening and what's going on. Emotional intelligence is really, gone are the days of calculations being the smartest person in the room, the person that can calculate the fastest or make data-driven decisions. Artificial intelligence is doing a lot of that. So emotional intelligence is that ability to connect with others. So if depending on your definition and how you define it, there's 4 pillars. The first one would be self-awareness. So how aware am I of how I'm feeling and what I'm doing? And the next one would be, if you gauge it a certain way, it's kind of like self-control, or I like to call it self-management or self-regulation, where it's, hey, now that I know how I'm feeling, what should I do about that? Do I want to feel that way? A lot of people say, well, that's just the way I feel. Okay, interesting, but you can keep yourself from feeling that way, or you can deal with it in a certain way. And then once we've got that figured out on ourselves, we look outwardly and we say, well, how are they feeling? And that's empathy. We all kind of hear about that. And then once I know how I'm feeling and I can regulate it, once I know how you're feeling, then I can put some social skills to work and go, well, wait a minute, here's how I should act in this situation. And here's how I should manage this situation. So those would be the 4 pillars: myself and how I'm feeling, how I regulate that or control it, how you're feeling, empathy. And now that we know all this, how should we act towards each other?
Absolutely. And thank you for that explanation, because as business has evolved and the corporate culture has evolved. These are things that are more important or becoming at the forefront of things that we have to consider, especially with leaders, right? We're talking about you helping leaders or empowering leaders to thrive and not just survive, because we do feel like it's a constant kind of just rat race. I know that's a very old kind of analogy, but it's still very relevant in today's even more fast-paced world and environment. I just wanted to say hello to Felicia real quick, who's tuning in. And for those who are tuning into this conversation live, please feel free to drop comments or questions for Dr. Frey as we're continuing our conversation. So taking AI and EI, you have formulated what you call the Further Faster mindset, which is also the title of your book, Further Faster. So let's talk about achieving sustainable success, right? We mentioned or have discussed how high achievers, leaders, often feel trapped, just like we said, this rat race between scaling success and really maintaining well-being, something that we really think about these days, because in the past, I don't think that was the case.
Yeah. So the further and faster, this is another lifelong, you're talking about purpose, right? For me, those words came up way back in like middle school. I was looking to, people are saying, well, you got to get good grades in school. I said, why do you do that? Well, so you can get into a good high school. Well, why do I need to do that? So you can get into a good college. Why do I need to do that? So you can get into a good job. Okay. So we're basically, this is the path. This is it. And then there's all these decisions that I have to make. How do I know which ones are which and how to do this? So actually the Further Faster concept came up then, and my mom and dad supported that a long time ago. I have a hat.
In middle school?
Oh yeah, I have a hat that they embroidered with Further Faster on it, and from way back. And so this concept is that and people think Further Faster is the go. When they see the title, they're like, oh, this is another guy with the go mentality and everything. Well, I trick them. I trick them. For all those people who are wanting to, this is about go get them and absolutely Further Faster. The further is longevity. The further is, what do you have to do to maintain what you're doing? Faster, absolutely. Achievement now. And the way I would describe this, I can do it with physical health or financial. Through the book, I go through emotional health and organizational health and time management, all kinds of stuff. But if you think about your finances, if you only think about further, and you're socking money away for your retirement funds, and you live like a pauper right now, that's further, and that's great, because when you retire, you're going to live like a king, and it's going to be amazing. But right now, you're not having any fun.
No,
you're not getting a good food, and who knows if it will be around, or what the cost of money will be around at that point in time. However, faster, if you just concentrate on that, spend now, and you have no money later. You're not thinking about the future. And so there's this paradox really of push and pull, or yin and yang, where you've got to think about the further, you've got to prioritize that, and you've got to prioritize the faster. You've got to prioritize both of those right now, and you got to think about both. And so I go
balancing act.
Yes. So physical health and all this other stuff. For leaders, when we talk about artificial intelligence and other things, again, kind of gone are the days, smartest one in the room is the one who can calculate the fastest, right? We've used artificial intelligence to automate shop floors, to do financial statements, to do all sorts of things. And when I say automate, what I kind of really mean is augment. I think we as humans look at that AI and go, well, let them do it. And that's interesting. But then we remove our EI from that, and we let these algorithms go off and do a bunch of stuff. And if we don't integrate that EI into it, then it will just be automation and not like the augmentation of the human process. So as leaders, let the AI do what it does best. Don't run away from it, but don't trust it blindly, right? What we do is we let the AI do the calculations, and we do the human connections. And so what the EI is these leaders now have to think about, the next gen leader is going to be more self-aware. than anything. I mean, I think storytelling, and we see that from the media and things, folks who can stand up in front of people, can tell a story, set a vision, do those things. A lot of them can do the calculations and came from that world. But as that creeps in, I think we'll find that leaders doing that. So it becomes a little more of a human aspect.
Absolutely.
And so in order for a leader to go further and faster, I think they need to combine both that artificial intelligence to be able to do that faster part, that's calculations, but then that further part is really becoming more human in the response to that.
Absolutely. I appreciate your use of the word augmented for AI, right? Because people are so afraid it's going to replace us. It's going to replace the human beings. It's going to replace our tasks. Really, it's going to augment what we do and help us to go faster, right? It takes out those kind of daily small tasks, large tasks that we don't really like to do that AI can do well, and allow us to then focus on the sustainable balance of emotional intelligence and empathy. And so I really appreciate the way you have framed that. And so I guess when you were talking about this and you think about this balancing act, then the faster would be if you think of ambition, effectiveness, and then further is sustainability and how you can sustain that. Right. So what are some key takeaways from your book, which is out, by the way, everyone, FurtherFaster.com, go grab a coffee, that you could share with the audience?
Yeah. Throughout the book, so what I end up doing is I have principles. So for each area of life, whether it be physical health or mental health, or whatever, I have a further principle and a faster principle. And the faster ones, I think, are very well accepted. Oh yeah, spend money. I got that. Awesome. Like physical health, diet, exercise. Keep moving is basically what the faster principle is. It's the further principle that I have trouble getting leaders to do. It's the so one. I'll just do physical health because we all can relate to physical health. That further principle is just stay still, and staying still means many different things to many people. But for me, you talked about how you've interviewed a lot of nonprofits and things. So my research is actually in nonprofit leadership, people in helping professions who give more of themselves over to a cause because their personal mission connects with the professional mission so closely that they're more likely to do that. If it was just a job, you would go home at the end of the day and you'd forget about it. But with nonprofit leaders, with entrepreneurs, doctors, nurses, clergy, pastors, that mission-based drive that they have causes them to stay up too late, or or whatever, causes them to miss their kids' soccer games, or whatever it is. They would give more of themselves, and so I have a hard time getting these leaders in workshops and things to consider staying still or to invest in themselves because they think that's selfish. And I have in the book, you got to be a little selfish at times. So stay still is a really hard thing to get people to do. And I have some concepts and some exercises on how people can stay still. They can hit that renewal cycle in the middle of their stressful day. And you can do it in days, weeks, months, whatever, but there are a few of those. I can go through a couple of those, but that's a quick hit on, staying still is one of the principles. And there's a few different ways of doing that we can talk about if you want to keep going on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about staying still, and like you said, I think as a leader or a high achieving professional, or those who are in these mission driven kind of roles, you do feel guilty. I know from personal experience, I feel like if I have nothing going on in my calendar, I'm like, am I missing something? What's going on? What's wrong?
Right.
I almost feel guilty about it. And just from my experience as a board member, so like a nonprofit volunteer leader, right? We do. I mean, there's so much time that I've spent that it's after everybody's gone to bed or late nights, because if I don't do this, who will?
Yeah. Oh, I do the same. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We do.
So how do we get past that hurdle of feeling guilty?
Yeah, I'd say what I attempt to convince people of through research, not not Jeff thinks this, but through research is think of that thing that you are doing this for. It could be a person, it could be a community, it could be the business itself. It could be that you want to make more money and you're doing that because of your generations to come, whatever the purpose is. If you continue down the path that you're in without taking the breaks, without some renewal cycle inside of this kind of stress cycle that we have going, then the thing that you're actually thinking about that you're doing this for, they're hurt. They actually don't get the best of you, and you don't do as well for that person. And so in hospitals and nurses, you think of it as patient outcomes. If you have people who are burnt out in the healthcare profession, then the patient outcome isn't actually as good if they drive themselves. Besides, hey, let's take a break and let's come back to it. Let's do a mental reset and come back. So we're drive because of that thing that we're pointing to, whatever it is, your North Star that you're headed towards, that thing you care about the most. That's actually hurt. And you don't do as well for it if you don't take the breaks. And I'm not talking about you got to go on vacation for 2 weeks and, to Paris or anything. I'm saying before a Zoom call, take 30 seconds before the Zoom call. And even if you're 30 seconds late, take 30 seconds before the Zoom call and don't think about anything. Take a deep breath and just sit there. Stare at the ceiling if you have to. Just do something like that, right? We have lunchtime. And if you can swing it, if you work from home, it's probably easier. But if you're at an office, close the door, lay down on the floor. Yes, down on the floor. Put your feet.
For those of us who are germaphobes, that may be a little bit of an issue.
Find a sheet, get a sheet. I don't care what you have to do. Put your feet up on the chair that you have and count. And for 6 minutes, stare at the ceiling. And the regulation that has on your nervous system, it hits a reset button that you just don't get, any other way. And then, there's other mindfulness, 13 minutes, not 10, not 15, set a timer for 13 minutes at the beginning of your day and stare out the window.
These are great, really tips and tactics, right?
Yeah.
I hesitate to use the word tactics because it's so much more than that. But it goes back to one of the things that we wanted to talk about, how you reframe productivity.
Yeah.
Right. And that is why rest is actually a performance strategy, because without the rest, without taking that time for mindfulness, you cannot continue to be as productive, or you cannot continue to help others.
Right.
It's very similar, I guess, to that announcement on airplanes where, they say, if you're with a child or someone who needs help, put your oxygen mask on first, because you can't help others if you have not taken care of yourself.
Yeah. That's actually in the book.
Look at that. I haven't even read your book yet.
Yeah, I start all the chapters with some type of quote. And the quote at the beginning of the chapter for that is basically put your mask on before everybody else. Says every flight attendant ever, right? And it keeps going. And so, we have to realize that those rests, those breaks, these things are not selfish, right? Going back to how do I get over that hurdle? I'm talking 30 seconds, 6 minutes, 30, again, not 2 weeks away with the family or something, which you should do every once in a while. Right. I'm talking just, and as you put these intermittently throughout your day, you'll notice that you show up better at the meeting. You show up better in the afternoon. You show up better in the mornings and those breaks. So, but you have to figure out what those renewal cycles are for you. In my research with nonprofit leaders, walks in nature, lunch with a spouse or a close friend or a significant other, playing with a pet or a child. And in the research, it doesn't even have to be your child. I mean, it could be the grandchild or
don't go pick up a kid off the street.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Then we have a whole nother problem. But a nephew, a niece, something like that can go home afterwards. These types of things reset the system of these leaders that I was talking to. And you'd be amazed at how many don't do any of those. They just drive through. And then when one of those catches, they feel like it's a few and far between thing. And it's got to be intentional. You've got to set time on your calendar. You've got to do that. It's got to be an intentionality where you are setting yourself up. And again, it's not a rest. It's not a break. Think of it as a performance enhancement, right? Even superstars in the NBA and MLB and Olympians and all that, they have rest weeks. They sleep very long hours during, there's things that they do, and they don't be like, well, I've got to take a break. Oh, it's been so much. No, they've scheduled it ahead of time, and this is a performance enhancement for them. Just like training, just like their nutrition, it's a performance enhancement.
That's a great way to think about it. We think about when we work out or we train, we've got to have those rest days so our muscles don't get overused, get damaged, get hurt. Right. So our productivity in our own lives are similar ways. And I started creating time blocks for myself right before, say, like this live stream, just to give myself that time so nobody's scheduling anything, nobody's trying to talk to me. And I think I'm going to reframe it and call it performance enhancements from now on instead of focus time. I love
Exactly. Yeah.
So despite our best practices to do this, how do we protect those boundaries, right? We may say, okay, this is a time block, but then someone comes in and says, this is so important, I've got to talk to you right now. How do we navigate that?
Yeah, another principle in the book. I mean, saying no is a real thing, right? A lot of people are hard about it. Setting the boundaries, you have to realize, and again, in my research personally, but lots of other research, if we think about the thing that you need to protect the most is time. It really is. I mean, it's time. So I saw something on, it was some feed that I have, right? And I was scrolling through and it said, a streaming service, right? Some TV streaming service. And it said cost equals, and then it said $24 a month or something. And then it scratched it out and it said cost your time is actually what it's costing, right? Yeah. It's costing your time, and you need to protect that. And so if you do believe that, if you really want to perform, if you really do, I mean, this, again, the faster side of FurtherFaster, if you really want to perform, you got to set the time blocks aside to be able to be as efficient as possible with those and not waste time, which is another principle in the book, waste no time. But as you see that, then the further is not wasting time, right? Taking those breaks. So boundaries to me are predetermined time blocks, what you're going to do, you protect it, you put phones away. There are 6,000 ways to get a hold of me now, right? That's exaggerating. There's 60. I mean, at least every email address, every social platform, my phone number, my phone in at least 10 or 12 different ways will buzz or ring depending on who's messaging me or something. And if you really want to get something done, you got to push all that away, close all the other windows on your computer. Just focus on the one and just do that for 20 minutes. There's the Pomodoro method. There's a bunch of different methods to do that. 20 minutes and then come out of it. Take a little break, go back for 20 minutes, come out of it, take a little break. 3 or 4 of those cycles, take a longer break and check your emails and go through that. You'll be more productive than if you try to multitask while you're doing something. Have the TV on in the background while you're on the computer. We do this. Lots of us do this. it's going to take you twice as long to get that email written. If you turn that off,
support a TV noise in the background, turn it off.
Turn it off, get the email done, and then go to the TV and concentrate on it. And that actually, your brain actually responds to that better, because now it's not trying to focus on two different things and switch back and forth. So we can say it. It seems really simple. To do it is rough. Is really rough.
It is, because you're right. We're pulled in so many directions, and we have these devices going off. And I do feel like if I don't block out that time, I do feel like I'm just chasing one thing after the other. And it's a constant, oh, I got to get this email. I've got to respond to this. And something falls through the cracks, essentially. This hustle culture that we make, I don't know, think it's just such a great thing that we have empowered, if you will, I think has done us a great disservice, so that we feel like we're constantly, on the go and hustling. And so thank you for sharing these techniques for boundary setting. I wanted to share a few comments from viewers here. Love these performance enhancement suggestions. I'm so wired to go, go, go that taking those moments to engage in renewal cycles is a foreign concept. I'm right there with you. It's very, very important.
That's good.
And then, no is a complete sentence. You don't have to say no because no, totally. I'm not able to.
Put a period after that NO. If you have to put an exclamation point after that NO for absolutely. Yeah.
So I did want to approach it from the standpoint of, I'm Asian, right? In my culture, it's you've got to constantly achieve, right? You have to constantly achieve to be seen as successful. As a child, that was drilled into my head, and I think that's part of why it's in my DNA so much, and I feel guilty when I'm not doing something. And so, how would one, I guess, overcome that kind of a hurdle where it's so ingrained, not just in our personalities, who we are as a human being, but it's part of the culture.
Yeah. It's like any other craving. There's willpower involved with this, right? You set up frameworks around yourself. There's donuts in the break room. As soon as donuts come in the break room, you can smell them. You know they're there. You walk past the break room, you can feel them, like they're calling out to you, right? And so some people, like, I don't want to eat 5. One is good, or none is what I want to do. I don't know what your craving is. I don't know what that is, but your willpower in all of those other areas have to be just as present in here. So that craving could be for other people's attention. That craving could be for the lack of disappointment that you feel from other people when you don't do something, when you're not at work for that hour at lunch, or when you go take a walk or something. You can feel, just like the donuts are calling out to you, you can feel the people going, oh, well, they're not working as hard as I am, and things like that. So you have to just understand, what is the best life for you? What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to go? How do I want to be healthy? How do I want to? And there's going to be some days you stay up way too late. I don't. I have this concept of sacrifice and taking care of yourself, right? So a lot of people in that, back to that relationship, they sacrifice a lot. And I'm not saying don't sacrifice. I want you to keep sacrificing. The world works on people who sacrifice themselves for other people. Awesome. It's just take care of yourself in the process. So there are going to be days where you prioritize something and you do miss your kid's soccer game, but there's good reason for it. And but you don't do it all the time. And so you've done that. So setting up frameworks around yourself to actually do these things, and having those frameworks in place so that they start to become a habit. Real quick, I was looking at my desk here. This is an 8-sided cube. I bought this a while ago. It's 8-sided die, right? It's this, and it's got some things on it. It's got like I volunteer at this place. This is a company. This is teaching. This is writing, and it's got this. And it's a little time tracker on my desk. And I work from home, and so whenever I'm working on something, back to those 20-minute deals, I take this and I push it this way. Whatever's on top, my computer starts tracking that time. And I can flip it. And it goes to my cell phone too. And if I'm away from my desk and I don't have this with me, I travel with this though. If I'm not with me, I can use it on my cell phone. And I can say, I'm doing this now, I'm doing this now. And it tracks my time with that. And I'm a pretty intentional guy. So I have goals every week. Hey, I'd like to write this much every week. I'd like to volunteer this much every week. I'd like to. And by Wednesday, if it says I wanted to do 10 hours and I haven't done it yet, it reminds me and say, hey, dummy, you haven't done any stuff on this yet. Or if it's Monday and I said I wanted to spend 10 hours and I already got 9 hours into it, it'll say, you shouldn't spend any more time on that.
That's a great way to track it. And so is that a device that is your proprietary device? Or
no, there's a lot of them. Oh no, I'd love to. I'd love to make one of these. No, there's a bunch of different ones of these that are out there. And you can look at time trackers and you can look at your desk, and some of them are rocks and some of them are cool looking lighting devices and all that other stuff. This just happens to work for me. But I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that once I get on something, I will stay on it. I used to be a master's degree in computer science, heads down coder, shove food under the door, don't make eye contact with people. That used to be me. And I could stay for 6 hours on one screen, no lights on, and just run that. And I know that about myself. And so I need this, because if I don't have this, I will not do what I want to do. So when I'm sane and I'm sitting there planning my week, I go, this is who I want to be. But I'm not that guy. So I need that.
You're self-aware.
So self-awareness, right? Back to being self-aware. So how do I self-regulate or manage? I can't do it on my own. I need a framework that I've set up around me to be that guy this week, and to do that and spend time where I want to spend time and not spend time where I don't want to spend time.
Absolutely. So we started this conversation talking about like human-centered leadership and AI and EI, and you shared some really great examples and information around that, insights around that. I'd love to know, like, who's a real-world example of a leader who integrates AI and EI well, right? And then also, what's the future? How do we future-proof this leadership success? And I think that would be a great way to close out our conversation.
Yeah, sure.
As much as I want to continue this, I think we all have time limits, right?
Call me anytime. I love talking about this stuff. So I will do a shout out to, there's all kinds of folks in the media that we could do something about. I will do a shout out to someone, David Bitton, Bitton. And I just did a TED Talk down in Miami, and the video should be out in a month and a half or so. They do post-production, so it looks good. They fixed some stuff maybe that didn't go quite right. And he was with me that day, and he did a TED Talk before mine. And he's a tech entrepreneur, a really successful guy. He's bought and sold, or started and sold 4 or 5 tech startups. He's on his next one. It's just a really great guy. And a while ago, he started what he called wandering. So for a tech guy, again, a structure that he has set up on Friday nights when he goes to bed, he turns off his phone.
Okay.
And he wakes up on Saturday morning, and he goes throughout his day on Saturday with no screens, no computer, no laptop, no phone. Okay. And then he gets up Sunday morning and he turns it back on. Now, he's a tech entrepreneur. He can do that. He can do that if he wants to. He's not on call 24/7. He's not a doctor. He's not a nurse, right? So this isn't realistic for all of us.
Right.
But he does what he calls wandering, and he lets his mind wander. You can say all kinds of stuff about attention economy. You can say a lot of things about how we've gone from being able to watch a movie that's 2 hours long to now we want 2-second snippets of something funny on our phone. So if we don't see it, we just skip past it, right? Whatever your belief in all that, he believes that he has been able to become more successful because he sits down with paper and pencil or pen on Saturdays, and he plans a lot of stuff, writes it down. And there's research backed behind writing things down and thinking, but he doesn't let the screens dictate what he's going to think about next. He just thinks. And I do this. I don't do that. I rarely, I run, I take runs, right? I go for walks, I take runs. So I'll run, and I will say after 4, 5, 6, 9 miles or so, I've planned my week. I've solved world hunger, and I've gone through everything you can. My kids' whole life is planned out, right? I mean, after you do this multiple times, I run marathons, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of running sometimes with no music. I think that clouds it. This kind of a concept of disconnecting and doing that, I think there are many examples of this artificial intelligence augmenting what you do so that stuff happens a lot faster. Mm-hmm. So now, instead of going, well, now it's doing all that, now I have more time to do more of that. And they keep going. So it does more and you do more. And it does more and you
give you more time to do these things. It's intended to augment and give you more time for self-awareness, self-care, self-management.
Stop, right? Stop. Let that do that so that you can go and take these breaks, or you can call somebody, or you can get on the phone with somebody, or you can go for a walk with somebody, or you can do so. I think there are examples now of leaders, and him being one of them, that is able to use the technology to speed up all that stuff that he was doing. Mm-hmm. And instead of replacing it with more of that stuff, replace it with how are you going to talk to your employees? How are you going to connect with your direct reports? Are you going to call that friend? Are you going to have lunch with your significant other? Fill the time with those types of things. And I think we're kind of ending where we started, right? That is the message. Yeah, that is the message of integrating the AI and the EI. Let it do what it does best, and you do what you do best. Become more human.
Exactly. And giving us more time to do those things and focus on relationships and connections, right? Because we feel like because of technology, we are connected all the time, but we're truly not connected in the sense of emotional intelligence. I have greatly enjoyed this conversation, Dr. Frey. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to get your book and read it. For those of you who haven't seen the banner yet, it's FurtherFaster.com. Go grab a copy of Dr. Frey's book there. Definitely connect with Dr. Frey on LinkedIn. Here we are. And then he is looking to speak to organizations or teams who are needing these tactics, these techniques, this advice to really think about how to enhance their performance through rest. And so definitely reach out to Dr. Frey for any speaking opportunities as well, or podcast guest opportunities, or live stream guest opportunities here. Thank you again so much for your time today. I think this was such a wonderful conversation. We've had some great comments from folks who have viewed this show today. Great combo. Thanks, Carrie, for tuning in. And again, if anyone wants to reach out to Dr. Frey, don't forget, connect with them here on LinkedIn. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Think about how you can augment your life by giving yourself back some of that time for EI and self-awareness. I'd love to hear about it. Drop in the comments as if you're catching this show on replay. Thanks again, Dr. Frey.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.